Hey everybody, I'm out in the garden today doing a variety of different projects, and one that I wanted to talk to you about is hostas. I've talked to you, I have a lot of hostas in this garden, especially a lot that are coming out of pots, and today one big project I want to get done is planting a row of hostas down the side underneath our deck right in front of me. And one that I'm looking at here is just starting to come out of dormancy, and I'm getting some of the shoots that are coming out into this particular pot, and I know that this has been in this pot for a number of years. Typically, I split my hostas once about every 3 years when they're in pots, and this one is due. So I wanted to walk you through how I split my hostas, go through the process of planting up this hosta row, and show you how it looks in the end. So I usually do the splitting of these hostas in the ground next to the pot or the hole I'm going to put them in, but I thought I'd bring you up to the potting bench for this demonstration so you can see what I do a little bit better. And I want to remind everybody that I am not a professional, and I am sure there is the proper way to divide hostas, and I probably do not do it that way, but this is the way I've always split my hostas, and they have done really well. So I'll just walk you through it. It's very easy. All I have is my handsaw here, and this is just a Fisker's standard issue handsaw, pruning saw that you can get in the store, and of course I'm going to have problems opening it now. So that's all you need, and in this pot all I'm going to do is I am just going to pop out the hosta, and it should fall out pretty easily. And you can tell this one had a drip tray in it, and it was also pretty darn waterlogged. It's very wet. It was time for this to come out of the pot for sure. So I'm thinking that the other ones are going to be just as happy. When I do split the hosta, I'm always trying to find the middle of the crown, and that is right about center here. If you are dividing your hostas into quarters, which I have had some that have come out so huge that I have divided into quarters, and the nice thing about that is then you know that you're going to get the same variety planted in bulk around where you need to, or you could spread them out if you love the hosta that much and you want it in different areas of your garden. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my saw, I'm going to find the center of the crown here, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to saw right in half. Again, if this freaks any of you professional hosta splitters out, I am sorry, but this is how I've always done it, and it's worked so great. So all I have to do next is put it in some fresh soil in a pot if you want to repot it, which is just fine, or directly into the ground, and that's what I'm going to be doing with the rest of my hostas down that row. I wanted to take a second to talk about another hosta that I'm going to split out today, and you may have some of these in your garden if you've had hostas planted up for a long time, or if you have been given a hosta in a plant or any kind of situation like that. This hosta, you can tell, has been a little neglected so far this spring. I haven't put any slug bait out, and the slugs have found it, and this is a variety that blooms or shoots up very early on, so I have quite a few of these in my yard. This one I didn't get the slug bait to early enough. The other interesting thing about this pot is that there's actually two types of hostas in here. So there is this variety that's on the lighter side, and then there is another variety that you can see the shoots are just barely coming up. When this is in full bloom, it's a good 2.5 feet high and just crammed in here, and it has been that way for about 4 years. So I know it is time to separate these plants out the best I can. The other thing I like about this hosta that's already coming up is that it's on the lighter side, and where I'm planting today, the bottom end of the run is a little bit sunnier, and the general rule of thumb is that the lighter the hosta leaf, the more sun it can typically take. Now different varieties are different for that rule, but that's just the general rule of thumb, whereas a plant such as a heuchera, the darker the leaf, the more sun it can take. The lighter the leaf, the less sun it can take. So what I want to do is split out this lighter colored hosta from the darker variety that's just starting to come up, so I could put that in a sunnier spot in this area that I'm planting today, and see how it goes. This could be interesting. Well, it may not look like a lot now after we've put down a layer of garden soil, and then I'll also top it off with a layer of bark. The hostas are mostly under the soil. We have a few that are popping out. What I went through and did is in each hole, I did put some potting soil into each hole, and I do that because here in the Pacific Northwest, our soil is just chock full of clay, and so I like to give some new rich soil to allow proper drainage and really enrich what these hostas are going to go into. The other thing I did is I put in some slow release fertilizer that I get from a local nursery here. So each plant was planted with some fresh soil, some fertilizer, topped with a layer of garden soil, and then we'll give it some bark. I'll also be putting in some slug bait on top of each before I head inside today, just so I make sure that those slugs do not eat them all up tonight. So I hope you like this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye. If you like what you see, be sure to hit subscribe and like, and hit the bell if you want to be notified for new videos. Thanks.